we have Adam, who's joining us. And Adam is a student at UCLAN. I remember a year and a half ago, end of December 2018, Adam reached out and we worked together to get him ready for the dental school interviews. But Adam's going to tell us all about his dental journey and his first year experience at UCLAN Dental School.
Thank you very much, Arnold, for inviting me onto your onto this interview. And I just want to give you a big shout out, first of all, for helping me and guiding me through a year and a half ago. I knew how nervous I was, and how unprepared I was at the time. So everything you did for me, I just want to let everyone know who is applying for dentistry to definitely get in touch with Arnold and definitely get his expertise to help them through.
Oh no, thanks for that, Adam. I appreciate it. So. Let's get straight into it. Why did you want to become a dentist?
So initially, the reason I wanted to become a dentist is, the cliche, my love for people, my love for science, my love for the, just for the use of my hands. I was very good at manual dexterity as I was in high school. So through my engineering teacher told me to go into engineering, go into the electrical side of it. And that's when I had the idea that maybe, if I'm good with my hands, I could actually go into the science side because I was also good at that. So yeah, that's where the whole idea stemmed back in when I was in around year 10. But then as I reached into first year sixth form, what actually happened was actually the significant role of dentistry actually became apparent when my sister was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So as I was taken to the dentist regularly, I just saw a drastic decline in her oral health. Even though her carbohydrates, her sugars, it was very moderate. So after speaking to the dentist, I just realized how individuals who do have type 1 diabetes have a reduced blood flow in their mouth, in their gums. They have a reduced salivary flow. So yeah, it just made me very interested. And it also gave me like an understanding of the range of comorbidities associated with gum disease, and also the pivotal role that dentists play in modern society in actually helping patients, to overcome such problems.
Yeah, so you're teaching now. I'm learning. I'm back in dentistry. So were there any dental influence in your family? Your dad, your mum, aunties, uncles? Was anybody within the dental profession?
Actually, no. I'm actually the first one who actually did go to university. So yeah, I hold that achievement with pride. But no, not really. We had a few family friends who were in the medical background, but none who I was directly associated with. So dentistry and the whole world of university was it was all very new to me. I was taking the first steps.
Yeah. Was that first person in your family to go to university, or?
Yeah, first person in the family. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So so you're starting from scratch, then learning about the route into dentistry. What did your family say when you said that you wanted to pursue dentistry?
I mean, yeah, my family were very supportive. They didn't exactly understand, how university was, the roles of dentists, because in my family, we actually have a long history of bad teeth. So it's more of a reason to actually go into dentistry. So when I said that, yeah, I'll go into it, my whole family, they were very excited. They were very happy. They told me in a few years' time, you'll have a queue of all of us coming to you. So yeah, it was very interesting. It was good.
What's your family into? What careers or type of work do your family do?
We're more business orientated in the family. More to do with business, more to do with property. So my cousins, my family members, they all assume that that's the route that I would go into. Go into business or start something of my own. But no, I was more into education. Ever since I was in high school, I've got my GCSE grades. Initially, I thought after my GCSEs, I'll go into family business or something along those lines. But after the GCSE grades came, I was very happy with them. So I thought, what, this is this opens up a big scope of things that I could possibly do.
Yeah, well, you never know. You might open a dental practice one day. And the family links can come in handy, getting a property.
Yeah.
So what's your family background? Were you all born in England? What's the background?
Oh no, me and my, I've got one older sister. So we were born here, but my parents and my uncles, they all came around 25 years ago. So
Okay.
just before I was born.
Yeah.
So yeah, in fact, they had to come here, with the conditions. They lived in India, so the conditions there, they were forced to come here and settle here, for a better life. So yeah, they came here. They started working initially. There were a lot of factories back then, so a lot of scope for actually working
Yeah.
legal work. So that's what they started doing initially, and then gradually, with the money that they'd saved up, they started doing their own things, started going to properties and just diversifying.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay, you decide after seeing your sister go through her dental appointments that you want to look into dentistry. How do you start finding out about the career?
Um, I started finding out just by asking the dentist, asking him about his experience, what universities he went to. And then as I was in A-level, that led me to do a number of work experiences. I did a few in NHS practices, and that showed me how important communication is, how important hard work, how hardworking you have to be, the empathy you have to show to different patients. I also went to the Royal Preston Hospital in the oral and maxillofacial surgery. So that showed me a number of treatments, such as biopsies, your zygomatic fracture reduction procedures, extractions, very, very complicated extractions. It was very interesting to see. And it's just the communication, the empathy, how caring you have to be. It was just all those things I was exposed to, the different qualities that a dentist has. So, yes, so those were like the roots of education.
Okay. So the way you just said that was like you can just walk into any hospital and just watch these procedures. You can just walk up to any dental practice and get this experience. Like a lot of people struggle to get
Yeah, no.
dental experience. How did you manage to secure this range of dental work experience?
Yeah, with the NHS practices and the private practices that I went to, it was just it was just constant emails, constant phone calls, constantly going to them and asking.
It
I
wasn't
think
the one time you just sent one
no,
email and one. It
no,
wasn't
no.
one.
It definitely wasn't one. Yeah, the first time I knew that the first email that I send, it's just going to be ignored. It's going to be one of the hundreds of emails that they receive. But then I kept sending them, I kept visiting them, and then eventually I had to give it. And eventually they did say, okay, you know what? To stop you from visiting or stop you from coming here, yeah, just come next week for 2 weeks, and you can shadow this particular dentist. So yeah, it was just that constantly. It was just a constant going there and yeah, it's definitely hard work. I mean, with the hospitals, it's a lot easier because you have resources, you have websites, and you visit them, you fill out the documents, and then you're part of like a waiting list. And eventually you do get a place for work experience there. But for practices, especially private practices, yeah, it's very hard work, to actually put your foot in. But once you have your foot in, then you can talk to the other dentists, you can get in contact with them individually, and yeah, whenever you want to go there, then you get in contact with them individually, which is
Yeah.
helpful.
What would you say stood out from your work experience? One or two things maybe that stood out that you'll always remember.
Um, One thing which definitely will stand out for me is the communication that the dentists have. Especially one of the dentists that I went to, who was a oral maxillofacial surgeon. His communication with patients, it was incredible just to see how he was caring for them, keeping them at ease, and the way he was going about it. Because I'd seen the communication at a dental practice, and then I saw his communication, who was actually an oral maxillofacial surgeon. So yeah, there was a big difference. That really stood out for me. And whilst I was making notes, I was writing down exactly what he was saying. So once I get into a dental setting, I can actually replicate what he said, replicate what he's done, and hopefully be as good as him. That was definitely one thing.
Yeah.
And definitely the different procedures as well. Like I completed work experience in India as well, and
Okay.
just the amount of dedication and empathy that the dentist shows there. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
there's a lack of resources there. You know, there's the day I was there, the air conditioning in fact ran out. So
Wow.
it's just an amount of dedication that the dentists are showing. You know, carrying on working those conditions at 40 degrees. Yeah, it was incredible. Just caring for the patients. Yeah, it was amazing just to see the different the different treatments there as well.
Did you apply straight from sixth form for college? For dental school?
Actually, after I received my AS results, they weren't as I expected them to be. So I took a more realistic approach, and I thought maybe dentistry right now wouldn't be for me. I looked at other things I could do, and one of the things that came to me was biomedical science. I talked to a family friend, and he told me that maybe biomedical science might be the one for me. And that had a number of transferable skills between the two, such as your analytical and your problem-solving skills. And through your biomedical science degree, you'd also be working in a research lab and also in a hospital setting, which would effectively help when you're seeing patients in a dental setting. And yeah, I thought that there was a lot of transferable skills between the two. So
yeah, that's quite good that you didn't let A levels prevent you from dentistry as a career, where I'm sure for many that would have been a stumbling block, and they would have just put a stop to it there and then. So during your science degree, where did you do it? Where did you do?
I did that at
UCLAN. So so living at home whilst going to UCLAN to do the degree. And at what point did you start, because you had all this work experience and you'd prepared personal statements, had you even got to the point of preparing personal statements the first time round?
Yeah. I got to the point of preparing personal, but then when it came to actually applying, I wanted to take a more realistic approach. Just rather than going for dentistry with the grades I had, maybe do something which I was actually capable of with the grades that the AS grades which I'd achieved. So then I completely scrapped the dentistry personal statement and took the biomedical science.
Did you build on that experience, dental work experience, or anything else about your application, or did you simply use the experience from the first application round and you just use the same personal statement? Did you work on the application some more?
Oh yeah, definitely. So whilst I was in my first year, we had first year biomedical science. We had a volunteering module, so you could volunteer anywhere that you wanted to. Okay. So the place I volunteered was Cancer Help Preston, and yeah, that was amazing. Just building on my communication skills. Speaking to patients who are actually undergoing cancer treatment, and just showing the empathy. Just being the listening ear for them. Letting them speak their heart out in a way. That was very good to be able to increase my communication. I also did also topped up my dental experience as well. I did I think I did 4 weeks at a dental practice in the holidays, and that was good. Just seeing the dental treatments again, looking at the empathy and the communication that the dentist is showing. But I think the most important thing for me when I was in biomed is definitely my research project. Now, doing the research project definitely allowed me to enter the weird and wonderful world of dentistry. I did it with a doctor called Dr. Sim Singram. I'm not sure if you've come across her. And the research project was combating Porphyromonas gingivalis through probiotics. So it was like a suppressive test. And yeah, that was definitely amazing. And well, just to go into detail a little bit. So Porphyromonas gingivalis, so it's a bacterium which is responsible for the dysbiosis in your oral microbiome. And if you're reversing the dysbiotic oral biofilm to a symbiotic one, then that's basically managing periodontitis, and also reversing comorbidities such as your Alzheimer's disease, your cardiovascular diseases. And in the end, due to time constraints, really, we actually didn't get the outcome that we wanted, but it just gave us like a pathway to, to go into it further.
Yeah, future lecturer in dentistry here. I actually remember you talking about that research when we first met. I remember that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good to know that you're still, you're still remembering it and using it. That's good.
Yeah, it's definitely something to learn from. I mean, in a way, I was glad that it didn't go in the way that I wanted to, only because I could carry on in the future. I mean, if it stopped there and then, probiotics did suppress performance gingivalis, then I would have just left it there. But this just, opens new doors to doing things.
So, okay, so how was it applying for dental school whilst also doing a degree?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely difficult. The free time that I had, I was spending it entirely on preparing for dental interviews. We had a dental exam for UCLAN in beginning of December, so a lot of time from September till December went into studying for that, and then also actually preparing for the interviews in a way, if the exam was a success. So yeah, it was very difficult, and managing my the research project at the same time. We had 3 other modules. So yeah, it was hard, but I think that's what I really signed up for. I mentally prepared myself in the holidays. In the summer holidays, I told myself for the next 12 months, this is what it's going to be. This is what I'm going to have to do. I formed like a whole timetable as well. Like the whole weekly timetable. So between 9 till 10, I'll be doing this. 10 till 12, I'll be doing this, and the whole 24 hours was fully accounted for. Yeah. So that helped, just having like a full-on timetable, time constraints, and yeah.
You were focused, man. You're focused. What about choosing dental school? How did you approach that?
Well, the grades which I had definitely didn't help in applying for dental schools. It really limited my choices. The main one that I focused on because of the grades that I had was definitely UCLAN. And yeah, I put all my energy, all my resources into UCLAN, making sure that that was the university that I got into. Because after my A-levels, there was no chance to resit them. There was no chance that I could change the grades. So UCLAN was the one for me because of the grades I had.
Yeah. And looking back and reflecting, do you think it's just because you hadn't figured out your learning style at A-level, or, were there other reasons why you didn't do so well, or, was it just the teaching style? Like, do you remember, or can you think of reasons why things didn't pan out?
Yeah, I feel like I mean, I couldn't fault the teaching style. The sixth form that I went to was amazing. I went to Lancaster. That was incredible. The teaching style, even the students there, they did incredibly well. So I couldn't fault that. I think it was more of the way that I was teaching myself. That I was learning. One fault I could make is maybe I was learning on my own. One difference I made after I went on to a degree was learning as a group, learning with other students. So things that I struggled on, or things that I didn't exactly understand properly, I could plug in the gaps using the students' knowledge. I could teach the students. Teaching them would solidify the knowledge in my head. So that was definitely one thing. I think it's more of the understanding. Maybe I didn't understand it correctly, but yeah. I mean, I wish I knew. It's still something that I think about. It's something that I speak to my dad about. Something, what went wrong and what I could have done. But
yeah, I mean, I just think sometimes exams are not a one-size-fits-all, and the way they're presented, some people are better at exams and the way they're presented than others. Not to say that some people are cleverer than others. I think it's just we all take in information differently, and we put it out there in a slightly different way. So I guess one of those big questions you can get deep about examining.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. Exams on for everyone.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I think I understood that after I did my assignments at university. So the research project that I did, the assignments that I did, I was getting a considerably higher score in them, a higher grade in them compared to the exams, even whilst I was at university. I mean,
Yeah.
it improved after A levels because of the different techniques I was using, the different approaches I was taking. But
Yeah.
even still, the assignments, they were just far better
Yeah.
than the
So
exams.
how did your personal statement, how did you prepare it? Because it must have been a really competitive one to get you a place at UCLAN. So how did you go about putting it together?
I mean, initially, I had the personal statement sort of drafted out. I was in A level, so I took that, the experience that I had, everything that I'd done in the past 4 years. I just put it all together. Well, actually, initially, what I did was I put everything that I did on a document. I listed everything which was the most important, the different work experiences on one side, the different activities. So the activities personally that I did were the different care homes I went to, the cancer help work experience that I completed, the different technology tournament awards, and the fitness instructing qualification. So all those different things, I had it all listed out on a Word document.
Yeah.
So yeah, through that, I sort of listed out everything, and yeah, I just went about it. I remember sitting down one day. It was in the summer. It was a really nice, beautiful day outside. And I was thinking to myself, everyone's outside, having fun, enjoying themselves, and I'm
Yeah.
here. This, so it really motivated me in a way. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure this is a success. I'm not just wasting my time here. So I remember sitting and just writing it. I just started writing, and I think the evening was when I completed it. So it was all in one day. If it's the right way to go, it's the way that I thought that maybe it helped me.
Yeah. And I mean, with the application, what was the hardest part for you, or what part did you really need to put extra effort into throughout the application process?
I think it would definitely be the interview process. The interview process was one which I definitely struggled in. In fact, communication at the time was something that I really needed to improve on, which was why I reached out to you to help me to really express myself. I feel like I could understand, I could think about what I wanted to say, but the way I was relaying it wasn't systematic.
Yeah.
So I definitely interviewed. And yeah, the way we went through the different many multiple interviews that we went through, that really opened my mind. It allowed me to think on a deeper level, to actually express what I'm thinking, to communicate what I'm thinking. So yeah, the interview was definitely the hardest part.
And how would you say, your preparation, doing a personal statement, preparing for your interview, how did that then prepare you in the actual interview itself? Tell us about your interview experience. What was that like?
Interview experience, yeah. I mean, the interview experience. So my UCLAN interview was the mini multiple interviews. So we had 10 stations in the actual room. We had ethics stations. We had a manual dexterity station. We had a wide dentistry station. We had a interpreting data station. So it was 10 different ones. Now, what happened with me was, as I was going through them, the first station I had was the ethics station. I remember it was a question on teeth whitening. So,
Wow, is that Mr. Nut?
no, it was Dr. Shalini.
Okay, I had that same question, but it was Mr.
Yeah,
Nut.
all right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the module lead for professionalism. So yeah, I think he was there in the morning, in the AM, and I went to the PM, and it was Dr. Shalini that was there.
I see. Okay, so carry on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So yeah, she asked me about the question, and I feel like I was very well prepared for the question. I was throwing all sorts of GDC laws, all the indemnity insurance. I was throwing every single keyword that I could think of, and I think that that definitely impressed her, with the level of that I had learned really. So it was all about the GDC laws and everything. So that was the first station. I think I was very well prepared for that. The second station I remember was not so good. It was you were given a sum of money, he had to donate it to a particular charity, given 5 different charities, and all 5 were amazing. I remember one of them was Cancer Help, which I'd actually done volunteering for. So I was going to be biased and give the whole sum of money to that charity. But I was trying to defend myself on each different one. But that was very difficult. I remember we had Dr. Pedro. I'm not sure if you've come across him.
Yeah, it sounds like a new one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he's actually a maxillofacial surgeon as well, and he was there at the station. I remember him, and yeah, that was probably one of the most nervous stations I was on. But the good thing about mini multiple interviews is if one station doesn't go as well, you can put it behind you, and you can just move on to the next station as a new person. You can start again. You don't have to be bogged down by the one station which wasn't as good. I think that's the beauty of the mini multiple interviews. That's one thing which I played to my advantage at the time.
How did you find the manual dexterity?
Yeah, manual dexterity, we had 2 different stations. One of them was the needle one. We had to place a thread into a needle, and we had to do it in a particular amount of time and in a particular order as well. So what I did was, as I got the activity after I passed the exam, I made myself a little model of it. So I made a little model with the little needles, and yeah, I was practicing every morning. Every morning, the first thing I did was practice it within the 5 minutes. The last thing I did was practice beside my bedside table. So the whole day, it revolved around actually doing the activity. It was one which they told us. I wanted to make sure that it was one which I actually did well in.
Okay, so they told you that there'd be this exercise that you have to do on the day. So you were just practicing ahead of. Do you remember how long you were given?
Yeah, we were given 5 minutes. So initially.
Oh no! I mean, how much time you had between being informed of the exercise and then your actual interview date?
Oh, that was 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. So I sat the UCLAN exam first. I think it was last week of November. We got the result for the exam on the first week of December, and the 3rd week of December was the interview day.
Okay, so I don't think people might understand this about UCLAN. So just explain that, because you're talking about an exam and then the interview.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so after you've handed in your application, your personal statement, you get a interview. You get an invitation for an exam, a dental exam. That could be a range of different questions, ranging from anatomy to things you've learned in biomedical science. They actually give you a certain number of topics which you should preferably go through. So you revise through them. It's a multiple choice exam.
Do you think you could revise for it, or is it you're depending on your knowledge from your current degree? Like how does somebody approach this?
I think it's a bit of both. So the topics that they give you, they're very broad. I think one of them was DNA replication. Yeah, it was a range of different topics. So it's actually difficult to go through each one in depth, and how in depth you need to go to. It's a constant struggle. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of both. With the knowledge that you've retained from biomedical science, some new knowledge that you've actually learned before the exam. One thing that I struggled with was definitely anatomy, because that was one thing which UCLAN biomedical science doesn't target. And there was around 30 anatomy questions, and half of them I knew, and half of them which I wasn't exactly too sure about. But it was definitely an educated guess.
Yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say it's interesting to find out that you had the needle exercise where you had to get the thread through. For me, it was origami, so we had to make a bird, a crane. And like you, I was obsessing over making these birds using paper. So yeah, they really like that exercise, like the exercise of giving you an idea of what you're gonna be on the day and letting you prepare. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, that was one of the manual dexterity stations. The other manual dexterity station was the wire bending one. So we had wire bending. We had to do it in a star shape. But that's usually or it's either wire bending or it's the wax one. I'm not sure.
It was wire bending for me.
Wire bending for you as well, in the star with Mr. Brooks.
Yep, Mr. Brooks.
That was very good. Yeah, I love that station.
What's funny as well is where I sat for that in the interview for the wire bending was close to where I sat during my years in UCLAN in that same room.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
crazy. But okay.
Yeah.
So okay, what was your overall feeling of the interview afterwards?
Um, I, I wasn't too sure because on one side, a few of the stations I thought went exceptionally well. They were, they were incredible. I probably couldn't have said anything more. But then there were other stations where I thought, no, this was terrible. I could have prepared a lot more. I could have said this. I could have said that. So yeah, it was definitely 50-50 for me. It could either way. Like I mean, a lot of people tell me that when they come out of the interview, they know that they've got a place. They've just got that feeling. They've just got that sense from the interviewer that you're good. But for me, it wasn't like that. Some of them gave me the feeling, others, not so. So it was definitely a 50-50.
How long did it take for them to get back to you about the result of the interview, and what was that like receiving?
Oh yeah, now this is a funny story actually. So we had the exam in November, the interview in December, and I had my UCLAN biomedical science exams in January, mid-January. And the first week of February was when we were given a half-term break, 1 week where we could just relax. Yeah. And I definitely needed that. So beforehand, I actually booked to go abroad to Dubai. So first week of February, I remember it was the second of February, and I was actually on the way to the airport, and I was just on my phone, just excited, looking at all the activities that we could do, and I hear the email notification on my phone, and I click on it. I see it's from UCAS, and at that moment, I'm debating whether I should open it now or open it after the fact. All days are ruined. So I went with my cousin, and we were in the taxi, and I said to him that I've got this UCLAN email. What should I do? Should I open it now, or should I take the risk? Should I take the risk? And he's like, yeah, open it, because he was really excited to know what had happened, and I wasn't that excited to find out. So I opened it. I go on UCAS, and the first thing I see is congratulations, and the feeling was unexplainable.
Did it overdo the holiday? Could you actually enjoy the holiday, or were you just thinking about, I've got into dental school?
I think for the first 2 days, that's all I was thinking about. Like, the first thing I did was I called my parents. I FaceTimed my parents, and then I FaceTimed my mum, and I told her to call my dad. And then when they were both together, I said it to them. I know they were over the moon. They were more happy than I am. Yeah, it was. I'm lucky it was dark at the time because I had tears in my eyes. I was so emotional. I couldn't let my cousins see me like that. So yeah, it was very good. Yeah, the feeling, it was just unexplainable, amazing.
So what would you say to yourself if you were coaching yourself when you were applying for UCLAN Dental School? What advice would you give to yourself?
I probably tell myself to have a bit more confidence, because I was definitely lacking in confidence. Because of that, I couldn't communicate myself efficiently and effectively. So I tell myself, have more confidence, have confidence in what you're saying. The things I did, I feel like I went over and out. I had so much work experience. I did so many extracurricular activities. Even the UCLAN predicted grades, the grade which I was given, I was very happy with that as well. And everything was ticked. Everything was on point. So the only thing that was lacking was my confidence. If I went in with a little bit more confidence in myself, then I would have definitely done a lot better in the interview. Yeah. But whatever happened, it happened for the best.
You got in.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Awesome. I think that rounds off this section of the chat and how you managed to get into UCLAN Dental School. So make sure, guys, to watch the next video, which is going to be covering what it's like to be at UCLAN Dental School.